Hey everyone, so with this episode of, Back to Basics, I'm going to be talking about anvils. Now, I'm not going to go into great detail about anvils on this. I'm going to give you a little bit of overview, possibly where to look for to get an anvil. And there's actually a part of me that didn't even want to have my anvil shown in this video, solely because I don't want you to get the impression that you need actually a hardened steel, hardened faced anvil to actually start blacksmithing. You actually don't, and historically, like Vikings and stuff like that, they didn't have big anvils like that they carried around. A lot of their anvils were relatively small, somewhere in the 2-3 inch by 3 inch kind of size wise, and it was just mounted into a stump. So yeah, there was a little bit of a part of me that didn't want to show these anvils, but these are two of my, I will say, a little bit bigger anvils. I do have some smaller ones that are more jewelry and precision, but these are the two main ones. The top one here, this is actually my first one I got, and as you can see, the back end is missing. I'm missing about maybe 3/4 of the back end, but I still have a really good face on it. And if you can find an anvil like this for a really good price, like I did, pick it up. And the reason why I found this anvil is I was talking to my uncle that I wanted to start blacksmithing. I was looking for an anvil. Now my uncle, he does garage sales and likes to go to auctions and stuff like that. So he was at a place where the guy was selling his father's shop off. His father passed away, unfortunately. So this shop had to be cleared out, and in there was this little beauty, and I got it for a really good price. Actually, it was around the scrap price of steel that I got it for. So I'm really happy with this. I used this for, I want to say 8 or 9 years with no problems whatsoever. It did make it a little difficult to work on longer straight pieces. Still a good anvil though. And especially anvil repairs, this one would be real easy to repair. You can just get a forklift tine, slap it on top, weld it on top, and you actually have a pretty decent anvil again. The other one that I have in the shot is my Peter Wright one, 100-year-old plus, nice anvil I got from an auction, and it's 150 pounds, and this is probably actually going to be my anvil that I'm going to be using most for the rest of my career. I really don't, I know a lot of blacksmiths that use a 150-pound anvil, and they've always used one, and they probably will always use one. So, you got smiths that are been working for 30 plus years using an anvil that's 150, so you don't necessarily need that 250, 300, 400 pound anvil that you see some blacksmiths have. It's cool to look at, but working around such a huge face and a huge anvil sometimes is not the best, especially for a beginner. Now, if you can get one for a really good price, I still would get one. But what I would say is the best way to get an anvil is talking to people, asking people. Every time you talk to someone, ask them, hey, by chance, do you know anyone that has an anvil that they might want to sell? Because the stuff that you see online, they're going to be priced like an antiquer. And I have nothing wrong with antiques and antiquers. It's just sometimes the prices for their stuff is a lot higher. Because there are some people that would buy nice Peter here for $800-900 to put in their garden, unfortunately, and never use it actually as an anvil. It does happen, unfortunately. So online, I've never been able to find a decent price anvil online, especially one that is old and has proven that is actually a good anvil. So talk to people, ask around. That's your best bet, I feel, to actually get an anvil. Now, I'm assuming with this beginning blacksmith that, you haven't found an anvil, and that's okay. You don't need an anvil. You actually don't. Like I said, Vikings didn't really have these big anvils. They had a 3x3 roughly chunk of steel that they put into a stump. So that's the route I'm going. And the piece I'm going to use for this series to start off is this here, which is actually mild steel. It is not hardenable steel. It is actually just regular mild steel. 2 inches by 2.5 inches, and it's about 5 inches tall. Metric 50, 65 millimeter, and 115 millimeter tall. And we're going to mount this not actually on a stump, because stumps sometimes could be hard to find depending on where you are. So I'm going to use just regular dimensional lumber to make a stand for this. I'm going to dress the edges, and I hope you enjoy this video, and yeah. So here's the stand that I made for it. I had some of these, I think they're 3x4s. They actually came from a pallet, so like a shipping pallet. So I actually used them, cut them down to size. So basically the construction of it is 1 center pole and 4 on all sides, just screwed in to it. And I mounted it on a 2x10 board I had. Try to get it a little bit more flat. Unfortunately, my shop, the concrete pad is really terrible, not flat at all. So there is a possibility I might have to anchor this down, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to shim it to actually keep it from rocking like that. So I'm probably going to have to bolt it down into the concrete. If you are setting up outside, you can just put anchors into the ground and you know, help your little stand from not moving or rocking. In the top, I just wedged the chunk of steel in between a couple of, I think they're 4x, they must be 6x1s. I just cut them. I have 2 pieces in here and 2 pieces on the side. And then I just actually used a little wedge at the bottom here, so when it actually does screw in, it tries to actually squeeze the top as opposed to just going out. So I'm going to try this setup, see how it is. I'm going to have to deal with the rocking. I'm going to try wedges underneath first, just to see if that helps, but this is my basic setup for my anvil. So I'm just going to dress the corners, and you know, it should be all good. So after using it for a little bit, I realized that this block wanted to move front and back, so I didn't actually wedge it. I only wedged it on the side, I didn't wedge it in front and back. So I just put a piece of wood on the front, screwed it down to the base and the sides, as well as in the back. I just had a longer piece that I actually just bolted in the front. So now it's all supported on all 4 sides, so this thing shouldn't move out of the block or out of my post. As for the wobble, I realized that I put this 2x10 that's right at the bottom, put it upside down, as in the crown was going downwards, and that's what made the side-to-side wobble. So now I've actually flipped that around so the crown is facing up. Yeah, facing up. So now most of the wobbles got out of it. Still a little bit of wobbly because of my floor, but I think I'll be able to work with that. So that's gonna be our anvil for the next little while. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if I do make any modifications on this over the course of these videos, I will let you know. So thanks guys.